The younger woman could only nod, her beautiful dark eyes never leaving her grandmother's. With love filling those eyes, her grandmother spoke again. "Follow after God's heart, my dear child, for this is what He has planned for you." With that, Sophie knew it would really happen. She would be leaving Czechoslovakia, and her grandmother. A moment later they were embracing, tears pouring down their faces as sobs racked their bodies, each feeling as if giant hands had already invaded their world to tear them apart forever. October 12th, 1988. Middleton, Wisconsin. I've got to find that dry cleaner's ticket. It takes so long without it. There was no one in the car with Vanessa Riley, but that didn't hinder her soliloquy in the slightest. Her husband had long teased her concerning her habit of talking to herself, and she smiled at the thought of telling him she was at it again. "Now what's this?" she said distractedly, her eyes momentarily leaving the road. "Oh, mercy, I wondered where that check was. No wonder I bounced that check to the plumber. Alec is going to wring my neck." Oh boy, pay attention, Van," she said, as she swerved a little. "You didn't even see that car." Vanessa was in and out of the cleaners in record time, but she still had 2 other stops to make. She pulled into traffic, fretting all the while. "Oh, not rain. We're headed to the lake. Oh, honestly," she said with growing frustration, "I haven't even started supper, and the kids will need help with their homework." Vanessa's hand was in her purse once again, this time for her shopping list. She hated making them and felt quite proud that she'd bothered to fill one out at all. When she suddenly realized that she had left it on the kitchen table, her irritation knew no bounds. It was probably this frustration, and no other reason, that she took the turn too fast. Houses lined one side of the street, but there were only fences and many trees on the other. Things had been very dry, and this fresh fall of rain was making the pavement treacherous. Vanessa prided herself on the fact that she'd never had an accident, so it came as quite a surprise to find her vehicle now spinning out of control. For the first time in her life, she didn't know which pedal to push. Her foot groped around the floorboard even as her mind conjured up a brief image of her husband and 3 children. Vanessa Riley's last thought was that she simply had to get home to all of them. She hadn't even started supper. 2 hours later, Alec Riley let himself in the back door of the house, which put him directly in the kitchen. He was tired, but not overly so, and was looking forward to leaving for the lake the next afternoon. He stopped dead in his tracks when he found all 3 of his children in the kitchen working on supper. This was not the norm. He wondered briefly if they might all be growing up. "Where's your mother?" he asked, knowing as he did so that the answer probably would be lying down with a headache. "We don't know." This came from the oldest, Rita, and it stopped Alec in his tracks. He took time then to notice the sober looks on their faces. "What do you mean?" "Just that she's not here." Rita shrugged. "Well, is the car here?" Alec's voice was deep and calm, thinking that his children probably hadn't bothered to check. "Could she be at the neighbor's?" "The car's not here," Craig put in, "and there's no note." Alec glanced at Tori, his youngest, and found her watching him with huge, somber eyes. "Well," hoping to cover his own growing dismay, he said swiftly, "I'm sure she'll be along any minute. I'll help with supper." They had been working together for over 20 minutes when the doorbell rang. Alec sent Craig, knowing it would be one of his friends, telling him to inform whoever it was that they were about to eat. Craig was back in the doorway of the kitchen in less than a minute, his face rather pale. "There are 2 men here to see you, Dad. One's a policeman." For a moment, Alec felt frozen to the floor. The circumstances, indeed the very look on Craig's face, made his heart pound. He reached methodically toward the dish towel he'd slung over his shoulder, placed it on the kitchen counter, and moved toward the living room, somehow knowing that the men at the front door were going to tell him something that would change his life forever. Chapter 1. Chicago, Illinois.